parents and athletes, if you're going to ruin the experience of everyone else in the gym by dragging everyone else down, if you don't want to be there, don't be there, right? If you're going to.
And we're on. This is the Let's Talk Cheer podcast, and I'm your host, Jason Larkins, where we talk cheer, we talk life, and we talk whatever comes to mind. 5, 6, 7, 8, let's get started.
Turn it up, you tuning into Let's Talk Cheer with Jason Larkins. We're talking cheer, we're talking like we know we're always talking. So listen up, you boy, I'm about to go all in. 5, 6, 7, 8, we're on, let's begin.
This is episode number 91. Not sure if there's going to be a 92, but thank you for joining. We have a great episode for you guys today. We have not one, but 2 questions of the week. We have a new segment where I put Brittany in between a rock and a hard place. And our coach's comment is about what to do when families and athletes are telling everyone they're going to another gym next season. If it's your first time here, thank you for checking out the show. I truly appreciate you. And if you've listened to all 91 episodes, let's go. You're a real one. Speaking of real ones, shout out to my mother, Sheila, Claire, Sarah, Robin, Adriana, Chanel, Tamara, myself, my mysterious supporter, Heather Peterson of Flipside, Pablo, and our newest mate, Michelle. Thank you for all your donations. You are good in my book, and our show is better because of you. If you want to support the show financially, all you have to do is click on the link in the show notes or the link in the description. And guys, starting next week, January 17th, Let's Talk Cheer podcast t-shirts go on pre-sale. Very excited about these. And that is an awesome way to show your love for the podcast. For those of you guys looking for the best way to support the podcast without actually, buying something, the best way to do that is to share this podcast. Send it to a friend, send it to another coach, or just simply post it on your social media. And by sharing it on your social media, you are entered to win the giveaway. I've talked about the giveaway for several weeks now, so I'm not going to go over it again. But I'm giving away a free coaches training. All you have to do to enter is screenshot the podcast, post it on your Instagram story, tag me in the story at Jason Larkins, and you are entered to win. Tag it, share it, let's go, enter the win. We'll hop on a Zoom call, you, your other coaches in your gym, the owner, whoever it needs to be, and we will talk some cheerleading and help you guys have a better season. Winners will be announced. Just one winner. One winner will be announced in episode 95. I'm actually thinking about doing the drawing live on the show. The more shares, the more entries. I'm the cheer director at American Cheer, AKSC.com, sharing with you my life, running a staff, managing a program, and working with the parents. Also, coaching the athletes, I forgot that part. And on the other side of the microphone is a real-life cheer mom who represents all you parent listeners. Don't be less when you can be more. Be more. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. All that good stuff. How have your couple weeks off been?
They've been good, but hectic, I don't know. I just feel like this holiday season, we were busy in the beginning of December, from Thanksgiving to the beginning of December. I feel like we only had one weekend. Yeah. So I feel rushed to do a lot of things. We went camping for Thanksgiving, went camping for a cheer competition, just got home yesterday, camping for New Year's. So, I feel like it was all jumbled into one thing. And now, it's the New Year. So I'm whew, can I slow down for a weekend? No, I can't, because I have 6 weekends full of cheer competition. So, playing catch up, but I'm excited for the season to start and get going.
That's awesome. I'm just clarifying, just for our audience, those 6 competitions, that's a combination of American and Rosedale, correct?
Yes, it is. It's a combination of school cheer and all-star cheer.
There you go. I'm 6 competitions. So we're just getting started, people. Yeah. So, good. So yeah, that's the life you chose. This life, I didn't choose this life. This life chose me. Good stuff. All right. I actually went camping for New Year's years ago. It was pretty fun though, except we didn't know when the countdown was happening. I don't remember doing a formal countdown. It was oh, I guess it's midnight. But it was a lot of fun. It actually snowed. We were in Yucaipa, so like Southern California, and it
Mhm.
snowed. It was like it was winter wonderland. It was crazy. Southern California has never seen this much snow. It was insane. And yeah, we went camping that weekend. It's a good weekend, a lot of good times. And yeah, anyway, yeah, but I went camping on New Year's once upon a time. I've not done that since, not because we had a bad trip, but just, haven't done. So I hope that you guys enjoyed all of your various camping trips. And yeah, anyway, let's get started with the Sounds Like That question of the week. Sounds Like That, the official music producer of the Let's Talk Cheer podcast and all of our hot American cheer tracks, which we are going to be hearing in full swing coming up this competition season. GSSA is around the corner. Actually, I think this is going to release the week of GSSA. So GSSA is this weekend, as you're listening to it. And so let's make it happen. So what do we got going on? What's the question of the week?
All right, we have 2 questions of the week, but the first one, the most important one, what are your thoughts on all-star cheerleaders going to college cheer? If they've never done sideline cheer, should they just super senior or join an open team? What's the difference?
There we go. Great question. Thanks for sending that in. If you want to send your question in, if you want your question to be answered on the show, there's a link in the show notes, link in the description below, and click on that. It says like question of the week, and you can just submit a question of the week, and you can leave your name if you want. So if you want to be, hey, Susie sent in this question. Oh, that's my question. Get a little fame, little notoriety. If you go hardcore, you can put your last name too. We'll all know as you sent it in. Anyway. So you've never cheered. What are my thoughts on athletes cheering in college, even if they've never done sidelines before? Yeah, so I highly recommend athletes cheer in college. I cheered in college. Cheering in college is where I fell in love with the sport of cheerleading. I only did 2 years of All-Stars because I started my junior year in high school. So I did those 2 years, and cheer was cool. I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I decided to cheer in college. And then when I cheered in college is where I really, really fell in love with the sport. And cheering in college is it's so much different than All-Stars. It's like basically a whole new sport. Like it's a whole nother level of cheerleading. And it's just so much fun. I talked about this on the podcast with Ryan Johnson, the coach from HPU, but it's just a special time in your life, like we all remember being in our early 20s and just, living on our own and just trying to figure life out. Like you're really finding out and discovering who you are. And you're with a bunch of people who are figuring life out and discovering who they really are. And, it's just a blast. I never cheered sidelines. My first time cheering sidelines was when I went to college. And, you figure it out. Les Stella was on the podcast, not too long ago. And he had mentioned like, yeah, well, you've never done sideline before, but that shouldn't stop you from cheering in college. Like it's a lot easier to teach a kid how to cheer and do game day, hold a sign, hold a megaphone, call cheers, than it is to, teach them how to do a standing tuck or, any of these other tumbling passes or these stunts. So it's a lot easier to take all-star kids and transform them into sideline cheerleaders than it is to take someone who's only done sideline but never had any like formal training in tumbling or maybe that advanced stunting and then teach them how to stunt. So I highly recommend it. I'm not telling everyone to go and do it, but I truly loved college cheer. I never thought I'd get out of college cheer. I never thought I'd get out of college cheer. Like obviously I cheered for a long time, but then I started coaching college cheer. And so I never thought I'd leave until this opportunity happened here at American, but I love college cheerleading. So it's highly recommended on my behalf, even if you've never done sideline. It's really not that hard to pick up. So there you go.
Good info. I was kind of thinking the same thing. I mean, I'm not a cheer coach or anything, but I feel like if you can do all-star cheer, I kind of put all-star cheer at like the top, like the elitist of the elitist. I know there's different levels, but if you could do all-star cheer, then you could do school cheer, you could do sideline cheer, you could do that stuff, because you're little amazing athletes.
Yeah, and I think the kids should get out and explore. Now, this is just my personal opinion, but I feel like there's so many kids who just get stuck in all-stars, and they get stuck in it forever. And they're just like, and they just get stuck in all-stars. And there's a whole new world of cheerleading out there, right? Like, I think once you're done with your senior year, and if you want a super senior, that's perfectly okay. And anyone who stays in all-star cheer for a long time, that's okay too. But I just feel like as an industry, like kids get in and they're just like so comfortable doing all-star cheerleading that they don't want to go and just go see what college cheerleading is like. Like, it's a whole new sport. And a lot of kids, what was cool about being at CBU is you would see, we obviously got a lot of like really talented kids who came from like, big programs and big, teams who come in there who kind of like continued on that trajectory. But there's a lot of kids who maybe they weren't like the best at their all-star gym, but they really found a place to shine in all-star or in college cheerleading because it's just a different dynamic. So that was really cool to see these kids, come into the program and like really be able to find a place within our program. And I feel like it's like that at a lot of colleges because there aren't nearly as many top tier competitive collegiate programs as there are all-star programs. So a lot of these kids who are kind of average at their all-star program then go to a collegiate program. And since they've been doing college cheer their whole life or all-star cheer their whole life, they can come in and like really be a real contributor on the team. We talked about this a couple weeks ago with the girls doing, Rosedale, right? The middle school or their high school teams, right? Is that these kids have so much training from their all-star program. They go into their high school program or their middle school program, and they can really stand out, amongst, kids who just don't have that training. So it's highly recommended to me or for me. So go ahead, do it, pull the trigger. Let's go.
Very nice. Okay. So here is the second question of the week, which if you are a Bakersfield native, you understand mine and Jason's excitement when we answer this. Lindsay, don't know the last name, says, what is good to order at Luigi's when we go to Bakersfield for GSSA?
There we go. We got to answer it. That's a great question. So if you're coming in for GSSA, support local, eat local, people, eat some of our fine dineries. We have it's a culinary experience here in Bakersfield. So definitely check out Luigi's. B, I'll let you go ahead and answer first. So what do you get at Luigi's? What do you recommend?
Okay, first off, I want to forewarn you, this place is like a staple in Bakersfield. And it's packed. It is 100% packed. I don't believe they take reservations. So if you're coming for GSSA Bakersfield, they're open for it, and you're coming from out of town, they're open from, I believe, 10 or 10:30 till 2 or 3. So
yeah, it's like really short hours.
Yes.
It's like the shortest hours ever.
So make sure you like kind of pre-plan for that. You might have to order it to go because of the seating. If you go on, then they're not open on Sundays, only Saturdays. So if you go, I have a couple things that I would get because I like to try different things. So Saturday, I would definitely get the tri-tip sandwich. It is amazing. If you don't like onions, I mean, you can't. My husband hates onions, and he eats onions on this sandwich. They're grilled. They're fabulous. If you want pasta, I would get I think they call it a half and half. It's half white pasta, half red pasta, and I add a spicy sausage. And they have a mild or a spicy, but I get the spicy because it's not spicy. It just has a little bit more zing to it. Or I would get like the truffle sacchetti. It's these little pastas, and they have like ricotta mixture in it. What else would I get? They always have like an appetizer, like off menu special appetizer with like some crackers, some meat, some cheeses. I'd probably get that. Their New York steak is fabulous, amazing. I'm not usually like a New York steak eater. We always get ribeyes, and my husband is a ribeye like connoisseur, I guess you would say, and he loves the New York steak and pasta. So if you get the New York steak and pasta, medium rare, get a half red, half white with it. Oh, the best. Okay, so let's hear yours.
So funny. I started laughing because I'm like, I wrote down, like, we didn't talk about what, this is, I wrote down like my order, like, what do I order? What would I recommend everyone getting? And then you start naming them. I'm like, okay, well, I still got these other ones. And then you named another one. I was like, well, okay. Then you named the New York. And I was like, the New York too? You took the whole list. So yeah. But I'm going to just say it with more passion. There we go. Well, I'm just going to repeat everything you said. I actually do have one thing that's different though. So here's my list that you got to order at Luigi's. You got to get the truffles. You have to. It's not like she's like, oh, I get the truffles. Get the truffles. They'll change your life. Get the truffles. Guys, if you ever come by Bakersfield, go to Luigi's, get the truffles, get it on a toasted bun, or get the bread toasted and then have it with the truffles. It'll change your life. I'm telling you right now. You've got to do the Giovanna salad. A lot of people like the Monica salad. Not sure how you feel, B. You probably are a Monica type of girl. But your boy, get the Giovanna salad. That is the salad to go with. Unless it's the summer, yeah, get the watermelon salad. Because that salad is just, let's go. But the Giovanna salad, year-round, it's always great. The New York, of course, you've got to get the New York. You've got to get the New York. It is just perfect, grilled to perfection. You got to get that. And then the last one, like you said, was the what was it? The tri-tip sandwich. Game over. The tri-tip sandwich, add barbecue sauce, keep the mustard, add barbecue sauce. It is just, there you go. So, but everything you get there is good at Luigi's. But those are my 4 like staple things that I get. Great question. Keep them coming, people. If you are coming in for Bakersfield to GSSA, Moo Creamery is really good. None of these places are downtown, so like you're gonna have to drive and actually go into the actual city of Bakersfield. And guys, real quick, I'm tired of y'all coming to Bakersfield, staying in downtown, and then trashing our town. We got, no one's downtown is like beautiful and like well kept. Maybe Chicago. But no one has like a downtown you feel like, oh man, this is what the city is about. Like, people don't live in downtown. So anyway, point is, you have to leave and go to some of these other places. But Bakersfield, beautiful city. So, but Moo Creamery is great. So if you have a chance, go to Moo Creamery. If you're looking for something fun to do with like the kids, and Moo Creamery is not ice cream. It sounds like it's ice cream, but it's, they have a bunch of other stuff. It's a full-blown restaurant, but Moo Creamery is really, really good. And then it was on that one show, Diners, Drivers, and Dives. Yeah. Yep. And then the Boulevard. So if you're looking for something to do with the kids, like you've competed, you have the rest of your day, you just want something fun to do, go to the Boulevard. That's a lot of fun. It's kind of like a Dave & Buster's. We should actually have a Dave & Buster's now, just opened like 2 months ago, a month ago, something like that. So, but there's Dave & Buster's in town now, I guess. But the Boulevard, support local. The Boulevard's awesome. Moo Creamery. I don't know. There's some other cool places out here, but that's what I would suggest, especially with the kids. Go to good, or if you're with the staff, you want to have a good time, go to the Boulevard. Really good place. So anyway, Absolutely. Any other suggestions you want to throw out there?
If you go to Moo Creamery, make sure you get the sweet potato fries with the like spicy ketchup, and then they have like this whipped creamy type dipping sauce. Both of them are great.
Yeah, it's the marshmallow dip.
Yeah, they're so good. And the 1800 is kind of like down the street in the corner from the Mechanics Bank, Robobank, whatever it is now. They have like these super cool milkshakes. They're huge, great ambiance, great vibe there. They have pretty decent food. There's a lot of cool local places. So if you need some, let me and Jason know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 1800 is really, I really like 1800. Yeah, I didn't even think of all the places downtown. 1800 is really cool. You could bring the kids there. If you're with the coaches and the staff, you probably want to, and it's like no kids, I would go to the Padre, like the hotel. And stay at the Padre. Guys, stay at the Padre if you're staying downtown. But I would go to the Padre, you can grab a cool drink there. And Bottle Shock is actually a really cool, like wine, brewery type of place. So Bottle Shock is downtown, so you can go there. But anyway, we're plugging all these places. And then if you need to rent space, oh, this is for real. If you need to rent space, come to American. We're renting space out. I haven't advertised that at all. It just came to my mind. But we still got 2 weeks. Well, 1 week, it's 2 weeks in real time. So I'll ask people if they want to do some stuff. Anyway, all right.
Practice?
Yeah, let teams practice.
Okay. I'm like, are you letting people camp in the You know me.
Bring a
That's
trailer.
My mind goes there.
Yeah. That's funny. All right. I actually have a new segment today that I have not prepped Brittany on. So when we get back from the break, we're gonna get into this or that and put me in some moral dilemmas.
Owners, directors, coaches, we are in comp season now. So if you're looking for a second set of eyes as you're gearing up for your big events, I'd love to help out. You send me a video of your routine and I send you a video back of your routine with what I would fix and how I would fix it. Teams I've done this for have gone on to be world champions, NCAA All-Star champions, NCAA collegiate champions, summit champions, and D2 summit champions. So if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, you can reach me via email at JasonLarkins, or you can reach me on Instagram at JasonLarkins, or on the Let's Talk Cheer podcast Instagram, Let's Talk Cheer podcast.
All right, guys, here we go. All right, like I said before the break, we have a new segment, which I've named This or That. And so I'm going to ask Brittany some questions that are going to put her in a moral dilemma. I'm not sure if it's a moral dilemma. We'll find out. Maybe it's an ethical dilemma. Maybe it's just a I don't know what to do dilemma. And so we're going to see. And this is no judgment. I'm not going to judge any of your answers. I'm not going to reply to any of your answers and say what I think you should have said. You're just going to give us your answers, how you feel, and then we'll move on. If you want to explain your answer, feel free to do so. And if at the end of the episode, you're like, you know what? I've had more time to think about it. I want to change my answer. You can do that. No rules. Okay. Here we go. So we just have 4. We have 4 today. So this might go kind of quickly, but here we go. Would you rather always hit, right? This is you as a mom. Would you rather always hit, but always come up short of the win, or always look a hot mess, but the team always somehow comes out on top? They always win. So you can look a hot mess, always look a hot mess, and still pull off the victory somehow, or they always hit, but they always come up short.
When you say look a hot mess, like the team, like I need you to elaborate a little bit more on look a hot mess.
We need some Jeopardy music playing.
I need you to elaborate a little more on the team looking a hot mess.
They're a mess. They're embarrassing. Like, you don't tell people your kids are on that team. Not until they win. That's the only time. If people are watching, your kids are on the team. You only claim them when they do awards. Like, that's how bad they are.
I would rather them look fabulous and come up a little short.
There you go. Every time, all year, you got to deal with crying kids. They're just like, Mom, we worked so hard.
Then maybe they'll work better.
All right, here we go. Next scenario. Would you rather have a team full of drama, but they look great on the mat, or a team that's drama-free, but they always look sketch on the mat? So kind of same scenario, but a little bit different. This team is just full of drama, but they always look great. They hit the mat. They look awesome when they take the floor. Or, there's no drama on the team. All the parents get along. All the kids always get along. But, that camaraderie is just not transferring to the floor. And they just, they look sketch. We'll just say they look sketch. These guys are just, but they can't win either.
No drama. Absolutely no drama. Rather have no drama. I will take that. I will take 5th place all year long with no drama.
There we go. Good answer. All right, here we go. Question number 3. Would you rather have a child who loves cheer, absolutely loves it, it's their everything, their passion, but they're never able to make a higher level team? Now, higher level is subjective. Like, it's just, they're just stuck wherever they are. They can never make a higher level team. Or a child who hates cheer. They absolutely hate it. Complain every single day. But they're always like a key member of the team, right? They're just always, they are a star of the team. They're a key contributor, but in their heart, they hate it. They complain all the time. What would you rather have? Kid who loves cheer, but maybe this ain't your sport, sis, or someone who hates it, but is awesome.
I would rather have a child that loves cheer and they're stuck rather than someone that hates it. Reason being is because if my kid didn't like it, I wouldn't have them doing it. Like, I'm not going to force them to do something they don't want to do. And if they I'm a very firm believer in this. If you love something, eventually it will click. Like, it might not be clicking right now, and it might not have clicked for the previous year, but if you truly love something, it will eventually click, and you just might be stuck for a little bit. And as a parent, like, me and my husband are on the same page of, like, we give them all the tools that they need to be great. So if they want to be great, they can be. Like, we're 100% on board with whatever they want to do. So I'd rather a child be passionate. I don't want to deal with kids telling me every day they don't want to go to practice. So
yeah.
No.
Great answers. Here we go. Like I said, no judgment from me. So I'm not even gonna say great answer. I'm just gonna say, hey, that was an okay answer. Here we go. All right, last one. This one's the real dilemma. If you guys been following the pod for long enough, you know that Brittany is a mom of twins. So we're gonna bring in the twin scenario for you on this one.
Oh, great.
All right, here we go. Would you rather have a child? Oh, wait, wrong one. You have both your daughters, and you can pick which one is which. You can either have one in this scenario, one is going to be on a world's team, but the only way she can be on the world's team is if the other one is on a level 1 team. There's no scenario where she can't, she can't not, the level 1 cheerleader can't not cheer that season, and the other daughter gets to be on the world's team. It's either world's team and a level 1 team, and those are only 2 teams, or they both have to be on a level 2. What would you rather do? Which one we choosing, B? This is the one. No judgment.
I have so many questions.
You won't tell the twins.
Yeah, right. They're gonna listen. I think I would do well. I'm very torn because we used to want them to be on the same team, so we weren't having so it was just it was easier for us. We used to just want them to be on the same team, same level. But as they've gotten older, one of them really pushes and tries to get her skills to level up, and the other one is a little lazy and waits till the last minute to get her skills, and she just kind of thinks she could sometimes ride on her sister's coattails, not all the time, but sometimes. And we told them this year, hey, that's your problem. If she makes a higher level than you, then you'll be on a lower level. But honestly, I really truly think I would just go with the level 2, both of them on the level 2. And I don't know why my heart is just pulling me to that. I have no idea why. My heart's just pulling me to that one.
Yeah. All right. Good answers, B. I'm going to come up with more. People, if you guys have more scenarios, this is actually pretty fun. Well, it's fun for me. It's probably, well, that last one was probably hard for you. But if you have more scenarios, you can leave them in the submit question of the week, and we could do that. We might make this a regular occurring segment. I'm not sure if I'm saying the grammar right, but we might make this a regular segment on the show. So leave them in the show notes. That was pretty fun. There you go. She went with the level 2. Both kids level 2. If you would have done something different on any of those scenarios, especially if you're on YouTube, leave them in the comments. This is now a good time to say, smash the like button. And people, we're still running the coaches giveaway. I'm telling you, it's wide open right now. We haven't had that many shares on this week's
podcast. Well, actually, I'm recording this before the other one has released, so I'm talking about the other one, episode 89. I haven't had that many shares on that one, so it's wide open. So start sharing because someone's going to win. Why not you? All right, B. Let's get to a break, and then when we come back, we're doing the coaches comments. We have actually a real good coaches comment, and I definitely want your feedback on this about athletes who are doing a little too much talking in the gym, too much chirping going on. And we're back. We have the coaches comment. So the coaches comment is when I see things floating online. Most of the coaches pages that I'm a part of, the one I usually talk about is ASGA, but on there, and there's like 10,000 coaches in there or something like that, and they're all just talking cheer all day long. And if I see something that I want to hop in the conversation with, then, I bring it here and talk about it on the show. So the coaches comment this week is any advice for dealing with athletes talking to their teammates about how they plan to switch gyms next year. Season hasn't even started. They haven't even started competing. And this girl's already talking about how she wants to switch gyms next season. So here we go. I have a couple things. I'm going to talk about this for a while. So the first one is to our parents and our athletes. I'm going to talk to parents and athletes. I'm going to talk to coaches, gym owners, and then I'm going to give you my personal story. So first, parents and athletes. If you don't want to be there, don't be there, right? If you're going to ruin the experience of everyone else in the gym by dragging everyone else down, because I'm not getting the sense that hey, you plan on cheering here next year? And the athlete was like, well, honestly, I don't plan on cheering here. I plan on finishing the season strong. I do plan on giving my very best effort and finishing the season strong. But no, we've decided to go somewhere else next year. Based on my experience, the conversation did not go like that. Based on my experience, it sounds like this is an athlete, not a parent. That, they're in there just saying, I'm leaving. I can't wait to leave. And I'm going to be out. And, this reading through the comments and this coach going back and forth with other people, not going back and forth, but just dialogue. This athlete's just in there talking. And based on my experience, when there's an athlete like that, the parent is like that as well, and they're in the lobby, just, bringing down everyone else's experience. So, parents, athletes, if you don't want to be there, then don't be there. Like, you're ruining everyone else's experience. Just leave. It's not worth anyone's time. Just leave. So actually, I saw this response on the page. So I'm going to read this because I really like this. I had this happen last year and I pulled the girl aside, and I'll tell you, and I pretty much agree with this statement. I had this happen last year and pulled the athlete or the girl aside and said, if you would like to leave, you can go now. And if you talk about it one more time, you won't have a choice to finish the season. I reminded her that the cheer world is very small, especially in the state that they're from. And most coaches and owners talk. So she should make choices wisely. She said she did want to finish the season, but wanted to go to the big gym. I pulled the team aside, brought it to light. She didn't mention it again, and we finished the season. She moved on. Now her and her bad attitude are at the big gym. She's not my problem. I will be adding this to my handbook for the next year. If you threaten to go to another gym, then you will be released and still expected to pay your dues. So I pretty much agree with that. The only thing I didn't really agree with is that she said she just talked to the athlete. It didn't say she just talked to the athlete, but I get the sense that she only talked to the athlete. So me personally, this is how I would handle the situation. I would 100% talk to the athlete and the parent. I would say, hey, this is what I have heard. If you do it again, you will no longer be a part of the program. So I just believe that you should say, this is what has been happening. This is the behavior I expect to change. And if this behavior doesn't change, these are the consequences. I heard you've been telling all of your friends or mother, I've heard that you've been talking in the lobby, telling everyone how you no longer want to be in this program. That is perfectly okay. And I'm perfectly, people move on from gyms and people move on in life. No one is going to stay in their gym forever. No one is. No one is going to die in that gym. So unless they die young, people are going to move on, whether it's through finding another gym, the gym closes down, they graduate, right? Like, but people move on. And that's perfectly okay. People have the right to move on to other sports or to other all-star gyms. But to ruin the experience of everyone else, right? So we can't have that going on, right? And so I would address the situation. This is what I've heard. I expect you to continue to give 100%, or not continue, maybe continue, hopefully she's been giving 100%, but I expect you to give 100%, to be fully devoted to this team this year. And if I don't see those things, right, I see you're, 1 foot out the door, then we've got to cut ties and we've got to move on, right? So you either 1 foot out the door or you're talking to everyone about how you're going to leave next year, then we've got to cut ties. We've got to leave. So that's one. I guess I did that was my advice to the coaches and parents, or to the coaches and owners. Have that conversation. And if you have to cut bait, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And then this coach mentioned one other thing that I really, really liked. She said she did want to finish the season, but wanted to go to a big gym, quote unquote. That's not the part I really wanted. Now her and her bad attitude are at the big gym, and she's not my problem. Her and her bad attitude are at the big gym, and it's not my problem. Again, and I want to say this, tactfully. But when you have a bad attitude, parents, athletes, when you have a bad attitude, no matter what your talent level is, coaches and owners do not want to deal with it. They do not want to, they don't need any more headaches. Coaches and owners already have enough headaches and drama in their life. It doesn't matter what your talent level is. They don't need another headache. And coaches and owners out there, if you think you need that athlete or that family in your gym, you do not. You do not need. The gym is going to survive. The way I've always looked at it is the athletes and families are going to eventually move on. They're going to eventually move on. They're either going to, even if they stay with you for their entire high school, throughout high school, they're still going to move on, right? They're going to graduate and then go to college and do something else with their life. So they're not going to be in your program forever. Hopefully athletes stay throughout high school. But if that gets cut by 3 years, then it gets cut by 3 years. If it gets cut by 4 years or whatever the case may be, but they're eventually going to move on. And what are you going to do when they have to move on? They don't have any other choice. So if you have to make the choice for them to move on, then make the choice. You're going to have to figure out life without them anyway. So just my personal opinion, you don't need them in the gym if they are going to ruin the experience of everyone and they're causing you headaches. They're not that talented, right? And then the more you leave them in the gym, I've used this as a quote of the week before, I believe. If I haven't, I know I've said it on the pod before, but your main job as a manager is to keep the people who are indifferent about you away from the people who do not like you. I'm going to say that again. You need to keep the people who are indifferent about you, right? They haven't really decided, he's cool, right down the middle. He's cool. I don't really know him too much, but he seems like a decent guy, but I can't give a hard yes or a hard no on him. You need to keep those people away from the people who've made a firm, I do not like this person about you. Those people away from those people. When that happens, because they're being influenced by all of their negativity, and all of a sudden they went from indifferent, they didn't really have an opinion, to now they have a very strong opinion about you, and it's a negative one. So that's what I have to say. And the last thing I will say is treat people the way you want to be treated. And this is just my personal story. This is just my personal story. Obviously, I've not worked at American forever. Before I was at American, I was at CBU and PCM, which I've talked about numerous times on the pod. But I coached there, and eventually Ashley and I decided that it was time for us to move on. And we're like, okay, it's time for us to move on, and we're trying to find out different options. And I thought I was going to be staying at CBU. Didn't think I'd ever leave CBU, but we knew it was time for us to move on from PCM. And we started putting out feelers, different places, trying to figure out what we were going to do. And eventually, Ashley used to work at American before we came here, started running the program. And we started talking with American about what could happen and what we could do. And eventually, like, okay, like we made the decision that we were going to, move to Bakersfield and run the program here. We made that decision in January. Like we officially made that decision, like probably right around this time. We were only a couple weeks out from Spirit Sports, and we made the decision that we were coming to American. And we didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell any kids at the gym, any families at the gym, even the closest families at the gym. We didn't tell any other coaches. Like we kept that. It was between Ashley and I. Because respectfully, the first people that we needed to tell needed to be the owners, our bosses, right? So I had a boss at CBU. I was the assistant coach. So after we got back from Dallas, after we went competing in Dallas, which happens in late February. So, or mid-February at the time. Anyway, we get back from Dallas. First thing we do, we drive to CBU. Hey, Tammy, can we talk? Hey, Tammy, we decided that we're going to go to America. We're moving to Bakersfield, right? And wanted to give her plenty of time because that was going to be a big change. Like we built that program together. We were there 6 years together, and that was going to be a big change that she was losing her only other, person on staff. It was just me and Tammy that ran the program. And so I had to tell her, I wanted to give her plenty of time to go and make any adjustments she needed to make. I remember she saying, and we planned actually on telling PCM that day, but Tammy's like, I've talked about this kind of on the pod, but we kind of had a contentious relationship at PCM, which is why we were planning on leaving. And she's like, I don't think you should tell PCM quite yet. Like, I think you should let it ride just a little bit longer before you tell PCM. We thought that was wise advice. And so we waited, but we still told them at the beginning of March. So we still waited, a few weeks, but it was probably about a month or so, something like that. But we told PCM at the beginning of March so that PCM had plenty of time so we could all come up with a game plan on how we wanted to tell the kids, how we wanted to. It was my goal that PCM could establish a game plan that everything could keep running smoothly as we departed, right? That we gave them enough time to make any decisions that they needed, and that we weren't going to be like leaving obviously I knew it was going to be detrimental that we left PCM, but that it wasn't going to be as big of a hit, when you're prepared for it, right? Like, earthquakes happen and that's bad, but some people are prepared and they have water and food and flashlights and, extra toilet paper. And some people, when it hits, they're just like, yo, this got, they have generators, all that good stuff. And some people are just totally unprepared. So I wanted PCM to be able to move on seamlessly without us, right? And so we told PCM, we came up with a game plan and how we're going to do it. And we kept our lips shut the entire time, didn't tell a soul that we were going. And, that was it. I didn't want to have this whole dramatic thing because we had good, even though it got contentious at the end, we had really, really good years at PCM. Some of my best friends, right? You just talked about sounds like that. Casey was one of my great friends from PCM. We just had Jordan on the pod not too long ago. We had Edwin on the pod not too long ago, all former PCM coworkers. Troy still does our pyramids, right? So look, we had really good relationships at PCM, but it just wasn't working out. And I didn't want to throw all that away because it kind of got bitter at the end. The point is, I wouldn't want anyone trashing our program on the way out. And so I didn't trash that program on my way out. And I tried to make it as smooth as possible. And that's what I recommend for any athletes and families. You 100%, and other coaches, you 100% have the right to move on to other adventures in your life, whether it is a different sport or a different program. But I highly suggest that you do it with class and dignity, the same way you'd want people to treat you. So B, that's my story. I talked forever, but it just it aggravates me when it just seems so easy to treat other people the way you want to be treated, So it just, anyway, I talked forever about that, but we'll get to this break. We'll wrap up the show with the quote of the week, which is it's going to be another great quote of the week, one I really, really like. Hopefully it inspires some people. But yeah, so we'll get to this break and we'll come back with the quote of the week.
Sounds good.
And we're back. So B, we're going to wrap up the show with the quote of the week. But before we get into the quote of the week, guys, I know I mentioned it in the prologue, or I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the prologue. I had to have. I would not have forgotten this. But in case I did, guys, we have merch now. We have merch. B and I sat down and we talked about different things we want to do with the podcast. And we were like, we are going to sell merch this year. That's going to be a thing. So a great way to support the podcast is going to be getting a Let's Talk t-shirt, a Let's Talk Cheer t-shirt. So we're taking pre-orders starting January 17th. Put it in your calendar. Great way to support the pod. Rep a LTC shirt, and we're gonna make it happen. So let's get into this this quote of the week. I actually think I'm going to tell the story. The first time I'm going to tell the story about how I first heard this quote. So I'm not going to start off with the quote like I usually do. I'm going to tell the story how I heard the quote and then drop the quote in there. I cheered at Palomar, mentioned that numerous times. So I cheered Palomar and I decided that I wanted to move out of my parents' house. So Palomar is about 30 minutes south of where, I went to high school in Marietta, California. And it's in North County, San Diego, city called San Marcos, right? And so I wanted to move out and live there. And I asked my mom, can I get my own apartment? And she's like, yeah, if you're paying for it, you can do whatever you want. And I was like, oh, awesome. And she totally surprised me. I did not think she was going to say yes. Then she said yes. I was really pumped. My mom listens to the show. My dad listens to the show. Shout out to my mother and father. You guys have always been awesome. You guys have been great. I love you as parents. I truly, truly do. So anyway, but my mom said, yeah, if you're paying for it, you can do whatever you want. So call me by surprise. So me and 3 other roommates got together and we had all cheered together in All-Stars. So we were going to be like, oh, we all cheer together in All-Stars. We're all good friends in All-Stars. We're going to move together to this apartment. Last minute, one of the buddies decided not to cheer at Palomar anymore. And so we had this open spot and we're kind of like, oh, we have this open spot, but we planned on, splitting, the rent 4 ways. And our coach was like, hey, there's James. I think he needs a place to live. Like maybe I should look into James. And we're like, okay. And so we met James at tryouts. He's a freshman just like us. And, James was cool. We were indifferent about James. We didn't know him, from Adam. And so, hey, James, we have a spot in the apartment. Do you want to join us? Cool. So again, we don't know him. We eventually became good friends, like, best friend throughout college. And we ended up working together. So we found a job at a cheer gym, which was actually in Temecula. So we would like drive all the way back up to basically where my parents live to drive, so we drove 30 minutes north, just drive 30 minutes south. Right. And so anyway, James and I had these long car rides. And one day I'm like, hey man, like what is your story? Like, I don't know anything about you. Like, what is your story? He always talk, like my story would blow your mind. You have no idea how I grew up. And so he tells me a story and he goes through and James was blonde hair, blue eye, looked like he was the prom king, right? He was the star quarterback at his school. He was a star wrestler. He got like second at state, like 2 years in a row. He's a really good quarterback in high school and just decided that he wanted to start cheering. Anyway, but he tells me, so he has like this, it looks like he has like this great life. And then he tells me this crazy story. He's like, yeah, he's like, first I was born in Compton. And I'm like, Compton? He showed me his birth certificate, like legit born in Compton. And so he's like, born in Compton. lived there for quite some time. And he tells me this crazy story about how his dad got killed when he was younger. His mom, like right after that, his mom went to jail and had been in, was like still in jail, like even like throughout college, and how he bounced around like in the foster system, right? Home to home, foster system, grew up, just had this like crazy sporadic life. And he's telling me these stories about, running away and just doing all of these different things, right? And I'm like amazed that he became the guy he became, because he was a really, really, really good cheerleader. I couldn't believe he was a super talented guy. I couldn't believe all of that came from like this life that he was, came from. And I remember him telling me, as he's telling me the story about his dad being killed, his mom being in jail, him going to foster homes. And I remember he told me he didn't like fish sticks because he's like, the foster people, they get paid, to foster the kids, and they tried to save as much money as they could. And so they only bought us fish sticks. So we had fish sticks for every meal. He's like, so I absolutely hate them. Like I will not eat fish sticks. I refuse to eat them. Right. So he's telling me this whole story. And I am like, oh my gosh, this is just awful. And I remember he said this: don't feel sorry for me because I don't feel sorry for myself. Don't feel sorry for me because I don't feel sorry for myself. And that like just changed my life. It honestly changed my life. And it just made me think about like all the times like I started to feel sorry for myself, right? And I'm like, oh, woe is me. Like life is so hard. And I remember when James, I don't feel sorry for myself. Like I just like self-pity that day went out the window for me. Like no more. I refuse to feel sorry for myself. It's one thing I yell at the kids at practice all the time. Like when they just feel like life is so hard. And I go, I tell them this all the time. I get it. Life sucks, guys. But, we all got problems. Like stop feeling sorry for yourself. Especially, and sometimes the kids have like real problems. But, when we're conditioning and the kids are like, oh, it's so hard, coach. Guys, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Like you just feel sorry for yourself right now. And we just don't get anywhere in our life like feeling sorry for ourselves, that the whole world is just like out to get you. I personally believe that I have a great life. Like I feel like I have a great life, but the reality is I have problems too. Like I think my life is awesome. I honestly think my life is awesome. Thank God for the life he has given me every single day, but I have problems and I have issues. And so I know that other people are dealing with problems and issues as well. And we don't know everyone else's problems and issues, but I know that other people have problems and issues. No matter how glamorous their life might look, they are dealing with problems and issues. And so I choose not to feel sorry for myself. And so that's why I want to leave us with today. Don't feel sorry for yourself. So there you go. Have a great week, everyone. Hope to see you all at GSSA. And let's have a great year. First recording of 2023. Anyway, B, you want to add on to that?
No, you said it all. That's great. I think that's a great way to end this podcast.
There we go. All right, guys. Pre-order a t-shirt. Well, on the 17th. Go to Luigi's. Leave a 5-star rating. Guys, actually, we haven't had a 5-star rating in a while. I don't really push it as much. But, if you're still listening, if you made it all the way to the end, thank you. Smash the like button. Leave a 5-star rating. Leave a review. Make a donation. Until next time, 5, 6, 7, 8.
We're out.
We're out. Hey, Let's Talk Cheer podcast listeners. Although this episode has come to an end, there are a few other cheer podcasts out there that you can add to your weekly routine. If you're a gym owner or gym director and want to dive more into the business side of things, then check out the Connecting People and Profits podcast with host Dan Cotton. If you're a former cheerleader and want to hear the success stories from other former cheer athletes after their cheering days are done, then you'd love the Life After Cheer podcast with host Danielle Donovan. And if you're a cheer parent and need another cheer parent to relate to and want to hear things from a cheer mom's perspective, then the Cheer